welcome to episode 108 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
And I'm Jeff Mayo.
The other one of the hosts.
Yep, I'm the other one of the ones.
Where are the other ones? You're the other host. And you. That's what Respawn Aim Fire does every time. They're like, 3 lifelong friends, me, Chad, Holden, and you. And I'm like, all right, shut up, Chad. All right, come on.
Okay, Greg Miller.
I'm not on this podcast. Okay, Chad. Okay.
I was one time, but not now.
Yeah, we were at one time. The only episode of Respawn Aim Fire that matters. Am I right?
It's true.
I mean, like,
we're just saying
let's just air it all out. You know, man. Let's be honest here. No, I love those guys. Their podcast is great and better than ours. But but I hope you are also listening to ours because we have fun doing it. Jeffrey, not a whole lot going on in video games at the moment.
No, we had Gamescom last week. Everyone kind of blew their load of what they had, and afterwards, since we recorded our last week's podcast right after it happened, kind of like, well, not much going on. So, as you can tell, once we get to the news, it's very light. It's like, I guess we'll do this.
Yeah, which I'll go ahead and say what our main topic is now. I want to start like kind of saying what's on the show a little bit at the top because there's like light news. We're gonna kind of be taking a look back. We're gonna take like certain companies and just look back at how they did during this console generation. Kind of just like go through the history, do like a company audit of them almost. You know, like see how they did, and then maybe next gen is actually like it's closer than it feels like it is. It's like It's right around the corner. So yeah, that will be interesting. As far as like game time and game talk, I imagine neither of us really have too much to say. Just slightly more Fire Emblem, which I'm still really enjoying, but really until I get to like the big story stuff, at least like the second act or whatever, I'm not going to talk much. You are past that, right?
I am in the time skip.
Yep. Nice.
So I can speak to a little of that. Obviously, I'm not going to do spoilers or whatever. But general thing, stuff goes crazy. How things go crazy, that depends on the route you take, Yeah. It just really depends, So some things that people know. So people know. Once you do the time skip, you still keep the kind of school structure thing as far as, well, you still do lessons. But it's just posed a different way, like battle planning and stuff. And
okay, I was thinking that's how it was gonna go.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. You still do the tutoring technically, but
so you don't need to worry about like I have to make sure I have all this done because it's all going away. It's not that.
And something really cool, which you'll know what I'm talking about, Darby. When you're doing the roaming around the monastery, you can talk to like some of the other professors and knights and stuff, and they can teach your character in one specific skill, and that takes away one of your points or whatever. Once you do the time skip, you can do that with everyone, and they just call it training for everyone now. So, so if you have Claude, you can ask him to train you in bow.
Okay, so like your students can train you or something?
Yeah, because it's kind of like it's pretty much changed. I mean, because they're 5 years older and everything, so it's pretty much just like, hey, we're training each other,
basically.
Pretty much that kind of thing.
Okay, gotcha. No, that's good to know because I honestly didn't know exactly how that was going to work. I figured they had to keep that in the game. There's no way that it was just gonna. Yeah. Suddenly now you're done with the like.
Suddenly now it's battle after battle after battle. Like
that would have felt weird if it's just.
It keeps the same general structure with the months and all that. The monastery things so far for me have gone quicker because there's less people to talk to, and you kind of got a lot better idea of what you're gonna do because you can't really recruit anyone, so you don't have to worry about that.
But without spoiling, is there any bit of like a tonal shift that you're kind of enjoying? Because I'm hoping for that with how like kind of almost happy-go-lucky the monastery feels. I kind of want them to use that to like juxtapose between like, okay, the shit's getting real now. Like,
yeah, they do that. It's still kind of goofy stuff because that's just the way.
I mean,
but no, there's definitely a tonal shift. But how much of a tonal shift there'll be in your story, for instance, I have no idea compared to mine.
Yeah, because it sounds like there are a lot of Black Eagles, and it sounds like there's some pretty big
and I picked one
branching
of the
paths.
Yeah, there's 2 branching paths, and I picked an interesting one.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see like what the difference is. Like especially when like right now, I feel like this game's so long, a lot of people still haven't beaten it, like even games and media people. So when it's all said and done, I'm interested to see how like people feel about the different routes in comparison to each other. Like, is one gonna be like way better than the other, or
I'm curious based on mine, like how they set up things as far as who's technically fighting who, why, and I guess why the other factions, in their particular story, like the Blue Lions and Golden Deer are in the monastery 5 years later.
Yeah.
So I picked the church route, so it makes sense why I'm still at the monastery.
Right.
So
yeah. It'd be interesting to see. Also, it's just like is part of the strat. Like, I'm just gonna recruit everyone I possibly can, so they have less people.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they'll just fill the battle with generic soldiers or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Again, it depends on. I guess not really spoiler, but just kind of there are new characters that are introduced that are pretty, for you to fight.
Yeah.
At least in mine.
But when are we going to find that this game has, like, if you go to the very side of the map in this one corner and turn 19, you'll get someone like they did back in Radiant Dawn.
Oh, yeah, I guess also something for you, Dari, to look forward to and other people. There's, I feel like, more world building after the time skip. I mean, you still kind of get bits and pieces of that world building, especially, sometimes in people's support conversations, but you get more of that, at least, again, in my route.
That's good, because one of my complaints so far about Fire Emblem, about this game, has been, I feel like they talk a lot about these different kingdoms, and especially when they do those kind of, at the beginning of every chapter, they have, like, the painting that comes out, and they talk about, in springtime in Fodland, the children are going out and doing whatever.
And murdering each other.
Yeah. Like, I feel like all this stuff, it's like promising this like this like cool world with all these different factions and everything. But then I feel like we never really get to see it. Like, I feel like I've just been in the monastery over and over again, or I've been in like very like samey looking battlefields. It's kind of just the nature of the game, but I less feel like in Radiant Dawn, I felt like I was traveling across this country and I was going on this like epic voyage, which at least the first half of Fire Emblem Three Houses, it just really feels like I'm almost stuffed in this monastery and I'm only hearing about the cool stuff outside of it that I'm just not able to see, which is, I'm hoping that.
Now, based on mine, you get more involved, but based on my story as well, without getting the spoilers, I can see mine doing some particularly more interesting things with the people of the world than some of the other ones.
Yeah. We'll have to see, because obviously, like we only really know the context of our own stories, and like the Golden Deer might do something just as interesting in some other way.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I think I know what's gonna generally happen. I'm still not gonna say it, but yeah.
And I hope it's not one of those things where like Golden Deer and Blue Lions are almost identical, and then Black Eagles is the only one that's like.
Well, it's different just because they're two paths.
So strange. Like, I honestly feel like this must have been like just a timing thing. Like, they wanted, if they had more time, they would have branched out the other ones, but I'm not sure.
I might have a theory based on what I know, but we'll get there.
or they wanted to just put out Black Eagles, and again, this game was definitely going to be 3 games at one point. That was absolutely
another game I can talk about. Well, if you got something that we can do.
No, you go for it. Let's go.
Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, baby. Did you ever think we talked about Power Rangers?
I kind of forgot about that, to be honest.
Yeah, so people don't know. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid is a 3v3 fighting game. A budget fighting game. You can buy it for $20. Actually, I think it's on sale. Like, of course, right after I buy it for like $12 on every store.
Ain't that how it go?
How it go. But yeah, it's a 3v3 fighting game. It has characters from a whole bunch of different Power Ranger series. Like, obviously, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because it's the most popular, especially since this is a Western main game and all that. That gets more representation than the other Power Rangers ones, where they get like one or something.
They gotta sell some copies, John.
Yeah, they gotta sell some copies. But I think they've done a good job mixing it up and picking fan favorites and picking unique designs for different Power Ranger ones. And I'm surprised at how well they're translating character stuff to an actual fighting game. Because honestly, it's Power Rangers, so they just kind of do kicks and punches and not really much else, and they might have a weapon that doesn't really do much.
I imagine, like, I'm not a huge Power Ranger, but I have to imagine they had to get kind of creative with some of these movesets.
Yeah, some of them are kind of obvious and everything, and some of them, especially the Mighty Morphin stuff, they probably used a good bit of stuff from the comics, which can be more.
Yeah, which aren't several of these characters and a lot of this stuff taken from like somewhat deep comics and stuff.
Yes, for example, the main antagonist, Lord Draken, which is an evil alternate universe version of the Green Ranger Tommy, who cool. Anyone who has Mighty Morphin would know, is playable character. Trini, who is the yellow Power Ranger of Mighty Morphin, she's a playable character, but what they did for her moveset to help her stand out is in the comics she got dragon armor, which makes she's the big bulky one with that robot thing that had the lasers and all that and did the jump across the stage move.
Yeah.
So I think she just used that like one time in the comics, so they just used that to make a moveset.
Nice.
Yeah.
So like they're fans.
Yeah. They went deep and stuff. And there are other comic book things like the Pink Ranger's default costume is the Ranger Slayer, which is a comic thing as well.
Yeah.
So they did a bunch of stuff like that, which is cool. And this game's really fun, Darby.
Yeah, from the I only played a little bit when Jeff when we were all at the beach, but from the little bit I played, obviously the game does not look like Mortal Kombat 11 or Street Fighter 5 or anything like this. It does, like, the graphics are not like the best, but they're not bad, and it shows that like I think that they approach this game in the exact right way, where it's like we're gonna set a budget for ourselves and make this for like the minimal budget we can, but do the most with it and just focus on making a good game, a game that plays well versus a game that looks flashy. That way they can put it out for $20 and it can sell like okay, and okay is good enough. They're probably going to make their money back on this.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure exactly how it's been selling, but I think word of mouth's been really good for it. People who playing it really like it because it is a good fighter. The foundations are solid. The game runs well, even on Switch. I haven't noticed any frame drops, that I can tell. And for Power Ranger fans, they're doing a good job supporting it. This is a little weird thing. I think it's because it is a budget game, so they were like, okay, let's try to get this out so we can try to make some money because they're running out of budget. They, when the game released, it only released with 9 characters. Then shortly after the game came out, like within a month, they released 3 free characters. There was already a season pass announced with 3 other characters, but they released 3 different free characters and the first part of the story mode.
Yeah. And
then they released the second part of the story mode later, and then
it was basically like early access almost.
Yeah. And then recently they released the 3 DLC characters and the third part of the story. So I think the story's done. I'm making my way through it now a little bit.
Nice. So. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a formula that other studios should look at, that you can get an IP that is like popular but not super popular, or maybe used to be popular. It's kind of like at a like people recognize it enough to be like, hey, like they'll see it and like check out if it's good or not. But then like make yourself like cut your budget down enough to where
Yeah, because like you were saying, it's Power Rangers is popular, and there's a bunch of nostalgia factor to it, and the fact that it starts out at $20 might be enough for, I imagine this happened with a good many people, where it's like, oh, I'll play a fighting game where I can use Goldar to beat up Tommy and all that kind of stuff. And Lord Zed, yeah.
Like, if this was $60, I highly doubt you would have bought it. But it's like $20 and the word of mouth's good and it looks
fun. The word of mouth's really good, and the combat's really accessible. It's kind of the normal thing. Trying to remember of light, medium, heavy, and all that kind of stuff. And then the bottom button that acts on the PlayStation controller, for instance, is the special button, the special move button, and there's no like quarter circle stuff. It's just a direction or no direction and the special button.
Yeah, so definitely more simplified.
Yeah. So, and the depth comes into how you string it together and how you string your supports it together and all that kind of stuff.
But honestly, in a world where we have so many fighting games we're juggling, like, I'm okay with a more simple, this is not going to be your Evo fighting game, but it's like, it's a fun time, it's for $20. Yeah, no, I was impressed with it.
Mm-hmm. And going back to like the characters, they're doing some really inspired stuff. Like they just released Lord Zed, which the character that needed to be in it, he's most iconic Power Rangers villain. I think they did a good job, making like he's the evil overlord. He's full of himself. So they did a good job making something like Lightning Z's to zap people, and having the Putty Patrol come out, his minions come. And remember that super where he activates, he gets in his chair and the putties are just like kicking the guy on the ground. Like stuff like that's great.
Yeah, it's great.
And according to Maximilian, dude, he was able to talk to some of the developers because they're, known in the fighting game community at Evo and stuff. And according to them, it sounds like a lot more cool stuff's coming for the game. They're still, planning on supporting it. So yeah, it's up to 15 characters now, and which is good, obviously, especially since it's a 3v3 fighter, and each character is unique so far, and it's dope.
Kind of surprised this game's not on Game Pass. Seems like a Game Pass game.
Yeah, it might get there at some point.
No. But I mean, regardless, $20 is not that bad. And I think it's a fun time, especially if you have any nostalgia at all from Power Rangers, then definitely think it's worth it, Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, there's DLC, so to get all the characters, you gotta pay like $35 technically.
Yeah.
But at least it's not like Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, which I think you gotta get probably close to $100 to get it all now or something.
Yep. Or just any other fighting game where you pay $60 and then you have to pay like Mortal Kombat that has all these DLC characters that I don't know how much their pass is, but you end up with fighting games.
It's probably close. It's probably close to $100 to get it all.
I'm sure, like
to get the fighters
80
pass
minimum. Like,
it was about $100 for me to get the Injustice 2 one.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird how like that could be a whole discussion another day. Is just the kind of discrepancy with types of games. Like you have Overwatch, and even like this is a weird comparison, but like Overwatch and Splatoon 2.
Yeah,
both get like maps and modes and stuff constantly free of charge. You pay your $60 and you get that for the rest of time. And then you have like pretty much just the entire fighting game genre has just kind of gotten away with nickel and dimey for everything.
And that was expected, and and I'm guilty of this too as well. Of course, we want it because we want those extra fighters.
I mean, and it's kind of hard to stop that now. Like so much of this, like it's not really based on logic; it's all precedent. Like
it's a precedent now that people are going to release at least a season pass of like 5-ish fighters or something.
Right. I mean, like if Overwatch style games started charging for everything, that became the precedent, then that would just become the thing. Like it's just that they've established themselves not doing that.
Yeah, and like precedents with Overwatch and Splatoon, they can't really do that now without getting major.
Oh, it would
backlash.
be rough. Yeah, it would be rough.
Yeah.
That's why they'll just do their Overwatch 2 weird story thing or something that you don't have to buy if you don't want to, and you can just keep playing normal Overwatch.
Or may not Overwatch 2. That makes it sound like it'd be a direct sequel. Overwatch.
Yeah, I highly doubt it'll be called
Overwatch whatever, Blackwatch or something, where it's the story. I don't know.
Yeah.
You get the idea.
Yeah. Something like that. Speaking of Overwatch, I just want to briefly talk about the Atlanta Reign. Top 6 undefeated stage. And just Overwatch League in general has been so much damn fun. And I guess I'll make a time.
So, Darby, what you're saying is that 222 was the right choice.
Yes. I'm going to kind of talk about watching Overwatch League and playing Overwatch, because both and Roll Q have just been so much better. I mean,
I never thought we would talk about 10 minutes of Power Rangers. I'm proud of ourselves.
We did it. But no, I don't really actually have that much to say. It's just legitimately, if you've like kind of gone away from Overwatch for a while, especially because it was just stressful and like, you had to deal with a lot of toxic people, and just the whole you getting 4 DPS or just having to play something that you're not used to playing just because it was, there was just a lot of stress that went on before the game ever started, like when you were in the select screen, and just so much of that is just completely gone now. I mean, the game is still like hard in a lot of ways.
And don't get it wrong, people. There's still toxic people there.
Oh yeah, no, you're not. I mean, it's an online.
I know. You just roll toxic people, and that is found funny.
Yeah, but it does help a lot because a lot of people just have less reasons to be mad, or if they're like, it comes down to like their bad play can kind of be exposed more sometimes, and they're gonna shut up more if they're like sometimes, It definitely has helped. I've gotten a lot less toxicity because people aren't just screaming about the hero you're picking, most of the time anymore. And it just makes it, and just consistently, you're gonna have baseline like good Overwatch. You don't just get rolled constantly like you used to when you just had a horrible team comp and you were screwed. Now at all times you're at least going to have 2 damage, 2 tank, 2 support. So at baseline, even if none of you are communicating and you're not that good, like you at least have some cohesion there, and it makes it just such a better experience. I mean, like I already thought this was going to be the case, but now like a month into this, like me and like almost everyone else I've seen are on the same page. It's like this is the best Overwatch has ever been to play, like definitively, because also they have enough heroes to make this work now.
Yeah,
there's so many heroes in each of those 3 classes that you don't really feel that hemmed in, and there's going to be more and more. And Overwatch League has been the same way. It's just so much more interesting to watch when there's a bunch of different heroes going on. You can see people with Widowmaker like sniping people from a mile away.
Gods.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Now Sigma's coming out for the playoffs. Who knows what that's gonna do? Symmetra's being played a lot now, which is weird. I've like never seen Symmetra played in like any professional capacity. It's fun.
Yeah.
The only potential bad thing for just Overwatch going forward is just everyone has shields now, because people are doing Symmetra. They're doing Symmetra, Orisa, and Sigma. So all 3 of them have shields. Like, go watch some clips.
Shield meta.
There's like a clip that I think Alex retweeted, where it's just like he shoots down the Orisa shield, then the Sigma shield goes up, he shoots that down, then the giant Symmetra shield goes up, and then the Orisa shield's back, and then he dies. It's like, good lord. So we'll see. Overwatch is just getting more complicated. It could get to the point like several years from now, Overwatch might just have too much going on, like too many different effects. There's hacking, there's stunning, there's shields, there's there's gonna be someone else who like I joke that they're gonna do a hero that like turns you small. You're gonna like become microscopic or something. Yeah,
man, hamster be a small hamster.
Yeah, it'd be great. Alrighty, Jeffrey. Well, let's get into the news. News jingle.
Jingle, 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 Darby. Okay, first one comes from Mike Fleming Jr. from Deadline. Director Tan Trachtenberg has exited Uncharted, the Sony Pictures film adaptation of the massive selling PlayStation game. Tom Holland remains attached to star, and sources said the studio is moving quickly to lock Trachtenberg's replacement, meetings are underway now, and that a new filmmaker should be in place by the end of the summer. The film will begin production early next year. A new development is that this film will become the first feature production of Sony PlayStation Productions, which was set up on the Sony lot last year by Assad Kizilbash and Carter Swan. PlayStation Productions has come on to produce alongside Chuck Roven, Avi Arad, Alex Gartner, and Ari Arad. So, Darby, this movie ever going to get made?
How many good headlines have there been about the Uncharted movie?
Does it being announced count?
I don't know. I think a lot of people were pretty skeptical about it right from the jump.
What about Tom Holland being attached to it?
I mean, that's good. That's one.
Yes.
We got one. We
did it.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it's one thing after another with this movie, and they keep saying
Poor Tom Holland.
They keep saying it's coming out despite like everything that keeps happening to this movie. I mean, I do think it probably will come out eventually. Just is it going to come out as like a tortured mess that is going to be obvious that, it was changed hands 1,000 times? And I mean, that seems likely to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think it? I mean, I think it will come out. It's just I don't have
a
whole lot of faith
because I feel like if they, after all this, it's probably they're planning on doing it. So.
Yeah.
It's not one of those things they just kind of keep on talking about. It just never comes to fruition. It sounds like they're actually, planning on doing it. So
yeah, but that is a new thing that it's tied to the PlayStation Productions thing, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Because I mean,
I guess we could have assumed it. It might have been announced with it, but yeah.
Yeah.
But what about Twisted Metal?
Where's my Twisted Metal TV show that obviously I'm anticipating?
Where is my
so much?
Gravity Rush anime?
I mean, I would watch the shit out of that.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, I haven't even seen Breaking Bad, so if, like, I've started watching Twisted Metal TV show, then someone should be mad at me.
That's since they're gonna do a Breaking Bad movie on Netflix later this year.
Like, I don't even watch Breaking Bad, and I feel like that's probably, like, not needed, right? Like, from what everyone
Maybe not.
says, like it ends so good and Better Call Saul is so good. It's like almost like, just like chill, stop, just let it be good, just let it like stop and be good. But I don't know. I didn't even watch the damn thing, so what can I say?
What do you know?
Well, I don't know.
Except how it ends.
I do know how it ends, or at least one facet of how it ends. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much faith that this movie will be good.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
If anything, and best we expect, maybe a generic Indiana Jones ripoff.
Mm-hmm. Just thinking about Tom Holland gets me sad again.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get back to that later, though. Tom Holland Phil podcast. We did it.
We did it.
Tom Holland 2020.
Is he going for president now?
I don't think he legally can.
I don't think
no.
he can either.
For multiple reasons. Next thing, Darby, there was a leak earlier today. A Switch case that had a specific theme was posted on Amazon and immediately taken down. It looked pretty.
Which is
official.
always a sign.
Always a sign. And that theme was Overwatch, Darby.
Torbjorn for Smash.
Exactly.
It's
That's exactly
happening.
what we're saying, and that's where we're leaving it. Moving on.
Well, yeah, what if the game doesn't come to Switch, but Torbjorn's for Smash? It gets announced for Smash, and that's what this whole case was about.
So, with more than it just that being posted on there, this whole thing like it was being made by Power A, who's done like all the other official Switch stuff. So it's officially licensed by Blizzard and Nintendo. Okay. Yeah.
So it's probably
And if precedence shows something, we are probably getting a Nintendo Direct next month, early next month.
Yeah.
More than likely, where this Overwatch port could probably be announced.
Yeah, I kind of wish that we could have gotten caught off guard with that. I kind of wish this leak didn't happen.
Yeah.
It'd be like, oh shit, Overwatch.
Yeah.
I mean, not like I don't think this is like the biggest surprise in the world. We've like talked about, it's on every other platform, basically every other major platform. I mean, it's on both the consoles and PC, and like, not that, don't get me wrong, I don't think it'll run great, but Overwatch, I think it could run at a passable level on the Switch. I would never want to play it on the Switch. It would just not be the place I want. Like, I don't even want to play Overwatch on PlayStation anymore. Like, I just don't want to play Overwatch with a controller, and on the Switch it's just gonna run worse, and I don't feel good about the network quality there. And just like our friend Alex like brought up something. It was like just the voice chat and the text chat and stuff like that. Like, is Nintendo not going to allow that? Because that's kind of insane for Overwatch. I don't know. But how do you think an Overwatch on Switch would sell in 2019 too? Because people also, I mean, like, I think Overwatch is pretty healthy right now, but it is multiple years after.
Maybe okay. It feels like a lot of these Switch things sell better than you would, at least better than you would initially think. But at the same time, it's like with this game in particular, it's like
this is a little different one.
Yeah, because it's so online based and everything
and mechanics based too.
So, yeah.
I mean, like, when I try to think of like Overwatch's direct competitors, it's almost like Call of Duty and those type of things as far as like online games like that, and a lot of those are not on the Switch. I guess if you consider Fortnite one of those, but I think Overwatch is a little more. I don't know. I guess that's just like maybe that's not a correct thing to say, but I think of Overwatch as a more like mechanics heavy game than like Fortnite and everything. But I don't know. I mean, like, I think it could run at a passable level on Switch. I just don't know if the Switch audience is going to be excited for Overwatch. And I do wonder how much double dipping is there going to be. People who play a bunch of Overwatch on PC and PS4, are they going to want? Is this the type of game that they're going to want to go get on Switch? Because like, there's a lot of games I do want. I do wish, like, man, I wish I had this on Switch. Overwatch is not really one of them.
But Darby, you can play Overwatch on your toilet.
I can. But see, this is also my problem. Like, Overwatch is not really a game that I want to just like lay in bed and play. It's a little too involved. Like, when I play Overwatch, like, even when I'm playing on PS4, like, I'm sitting up on the couch and I'm like super focused because it's like a lot going on. Like, when I'm on the toilet or in my bed, I want to play like Legend of Zelda or something. Fire Emblem. those type of games.
You're just not a true gamer, Darby.
I don't know if I want to be like super focused while I'm on the toilet. Just don't know. But I guess I'm not hardcore enough. I don't know.
Not a real gamer.
I mean, would you be at all interested in playing Overwatch on
Hell
the Switch?
no.
You don't even play it on your PS4, so I wouldn't doubt. I would be surprised if you'd want to play it there.
I don't want to pay another $60. I don't even want to pay $15 for the PC.
I hope it's not $60 immediately, because it's not $60 anywhere else.
Probably will be.
I would hope for like 40 or something, but
yeah, we'll see. So, Darby, you think this leads to Tracer in Smash?
It's more likely today than it was yesterday.
It's true.
Probably not.
I don't think it's happening.
It certainly wouldn't be in this DLC pack.
Yeah.
It's possible for the future. I'd say like 3% chance max.
Here's my thing, and it is weird to me. Even this happened even before this, that people always point to Tracer as a potential DLC character. I've seen her mentioned more than most. I'm like, why? Why in particular? Is Overwatch giant in Japan and I don't know or something?
We're just reaching at this point.
Yeah, it's like I feel like there are at least a number of Western characters that would probably get in before Tracer. But that's just me.
Nah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not aware. I mean, like Overwatch is huge in like Korea and China, but I don't think it's huge in Japan. Yeah. Don't think. I mean, I don't even know if Tracer would be the first Blizzard rep. That would be. I don't know. I mean, I guess she might be, but I wouldn't expect it.
Sakurai does love his waifus. So
it's true.
Can't ever feel the waifu effect.
Then it would obviously be Junkrat.
It's true. Speaking of waifus and DLC, we have officially the full list of, I guess, the pack 1 or whatever, season 1 of the Mortal Kombat DLC, Darby. They did a trailer where there's kind of Injustice-y, where they just had them come out of the shadows and all that kind of fun stuff. It started out, I guess it's not the order that they showed, but whatever. Shang Tsung and Nightwolf, we know, blah, blah, blah. The next character that's going to be released for Mortal Kombat is Terminator T-800 on October 8th, and it looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It does.
They did it.
It looks cool. Arnold Schwarzenegger's in the fighting game. You can rip off Arnold Schwarzenegger's head.
You can rip
on
off
your PlayStation 4 next month.
Yep. I was surprised to hear that he was the next one because there were 2 other characters that were announced before him, technically. Because there are technically only 2 characters officially announced in this thing.
Yep.
Next character, which was announced before Terminator, Sindel, which is coming November 26th.
She was always fun to play.
Sindel back. She's going to be
MK9.
a zombie. A zombie girl.
I don't like all the zombie forms, but at least you can get other skins.
Yeah. The other guest character announced, the Joker, DC's Joker.
The only DC character, the only character from Injustice that could probably make this crossover, and
one of the very few DC characters where they probably be okay with it.
Like he
and
could have
probably
the
only one that they would allow and popular enough to make people excited.
I mean, he's getting an R-rated movie, so you know
he is. It's coming January 20th. I don't know if I said that, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Joker come out there and rip someone's head off, and it's like, yeah, okay. So
I mean, and I think it was during the rebirth thing of DC a couple years ago. His whole thing, like Joker had his face ripped off, and then he had it stapled back on his head, and the kids are coming off.
So he's fine.
Yeah, he's
he
fine.
can go in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. And the last character was coming out March 17th, which is crazy considering, it's about a year later, and that
a long time.
This character was announced before Joker or Terminator. Spawn.
Spawn
looks dope.
Spawn does look dope.
They all look dope. Joker looks a little goofy, but other than that,
he looks a little weird. But honestly, this is like a pretty awesome DLC lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a pretty I don't know. It's cool. I mean, between like Nightwolf and Sindel, and obviously Shang Tsung being like characters that everyone loves from the past, like MK characters. But then as far as the guest characters, Terminator, Joker, and Spawn is pretty damn good. Yeah,
I think Terminator is one of those movie things where people just really wanted it,
and that's gonna be a eye catching thing. Like they're gonna sell more copies of Mortal Kombat 11 because
especially
they're like,
since they were able to get Schwarzenegger's likeness.
Yeah, and it does look like, go look at it. It looks straight up.
When even the leak happened with the Terminator, I didn't necessarily expect it to look like Schwarzenegger.
No, I didn't at all.
Yeah, and Spawn's something that obviously we talked about before, long time coming, something really asked for. Todd McFarlane really wanted it, so It was kind of more thing. Okay, well, they're gonna put him in Mortal Kombat or Injustice. Which one was it gonna be?
Yeah.
They're just gonna let him rip people apart.
He might be in both. There's probably gonna be another Injustice. So.
Joker's in both.
Yeah.
And then they have multiple Mortal Kombat characters and stuff. So.
Spawn. It's kind of weird how. I mean, I don't know. It might just be the two, but between like Soul Calibur and this, it's kind of weird that Spawn keeps popping up in like video games, like video game fighting games as guest characters.
Yep.
It's interesting. But yeah, I want to get this pack. I don't know how much the DLC pack is. I want to play more MK11. I haven't played it in a little bit, but man, that game's fun.
Yep. Good DLC characters.
All these. Yeah, and Nightwolf was always fun too. I think you used to. I remember you used to play Nightwolf whenever we had played MK9.
I hope Joker has his little laughing gas canister thing.
No. He shouldn't.
He should.
I think I'm slightly better at the game now, so I might be able to punish it, but we'll see.
I'll find
Only
a
slightly. You probably will find a way.
I'll break the game. Next thing, might probably gonna be short and sweet, but CD Projekt Red will release Cyberpunk 2077 15 minutes of edited gameplay on August 30th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So this week, Darby. This week.
Only 15 minutes? We got 48 minutes last time.
I know, it's crazy. And people saw more, Darby.
I bet saying E3 they saw like an hour.
Yeah. Why do you hate us, CD Projekt
Why do you hate us?
Give us more. Give me the game.
Just give me the game. Come on.
For free. We'll keep the embargo.
I'll shut up. I won't even tell Jeff about it. Yeah. Just give it to me. So I'll just keep going on this podcast. Like, yeah, I'm really excited about Cyberpunk. Like,
I can't play games, man. I haven't had time. You know.
Yeah, I've been really busy, man. But no, you best believe that we will pour over those 15 minutes over and over again.
And we will talk about it.
This podcast. Hopefully, get Jacob on here maybe because I know he was on here last time.
Which comes out Friday.
Yeah, whatever anime garbage. We were talking about Cyberpunk, Jeff. Talking about real games.
You're saying Cyberpunk is an anime garbage?
It is anime garbage. You see Keanu Reeves with a robot arm.
Yes.
He's named Johnny Silverhand. Man, this game is so cool.
It's a freaking JoJo character. Let's go. Speaking of anime, this comes from Adam Banghurst from IGN. At Gamescom 2019, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Fans got their first look at the Cell Saga in action alongside a brand new character named Banyu. The news that Trunks will be playable and the Goku and Piccolo's driver's license car driving will be included.
How many copies are going to sell on that one?
Lots. They added an extra million at least. Speaking to IG, and I don't know how big of a thing I'm making it. It sounds accurate.
No, lock it in.
Lock it in. Speaking to IGN's Max Schofield during IGN Gamescom Live, Dragon Ball Kakarot producer Ryosuke Hara discussed and showed gameplay of the Cell Saga that features the epic battle between Gohan and Cell. Hara-san also confirmed that Trunks and his sword will be a playable character in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. The sword will be playable by itself. Just to make that clear. Joining such other characters Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, and Piccolo. As for the driving lessons, Hara-san explained how the events from Goku's ordeal, the 125th episode of Dragon Ball Z, will make it into the game. Players will experience an original arrangement of the driver's lesson test that Goku and Piccolo had to take, and Goku will be able to drive a car in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
I mean, there's gonna be added scenes to the driver's license thing.
Dream comes true, Darby. We can also catch a glimpse of a scene of Goku and Gohan eating, and while it won't be a mini game, collecting food will be an aspect of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot and provide various effects like healing, buffs, and permanent skills and upgrades.
Jeff, just like step back, like take this not as a Dragon Ball fan, like just like look. Imagine you're like reading this as someone for the outside and seeing what people are excited, like the things that people are really excited about in this game are getting their driver's license and seeing Gohan eating something or whatever. It's like really funny from the outside looking in.
No, it's funny. So it's funny from the inside too. That the fact they're making a big deal out of one spin-off episode.
That like kind of tells you just how many times we've done this. Just how many Dragon Ball games we've had. Just how many times they've retold these arcs.
Yeah.
Because now we're getting excited about driver's license and eating and stuff, which is cool. But it's like, man,
that kind of thing's fun. And having a new character, Banyu, who is doesn't say in here, is a former member of the Ginyu Force who quit because she doesn't like doing the poses.
That is pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
And she's a member of Jace's race, which for people who don't remember that's Space Australia.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
No further context needed.
Yep. So this makes it more interesting, especially since they're going beyond the Frieza saga, where they made it seem like it was just that. Yeah, I think pretty much said it was just a Frieza saga at first. So it's like, oh, we're just doing this again.
But I wonder how further? Because it definitely seemed like that was
the whole
focus.
Cell saga.
They're doing the entire Cell saga.
And apparently, they also said in a comment in an interview that they're also doing the Boo saga.
Yeah.
So it's like they're doing all of them. It's like, okay, you got my attention a little more. Still not going to get a day one for sure, but
then now
it might have my radar maybe at some point if it's good.
But now I'm starting to wonder, like, how kind of low effort are the smaller parts of this game when they're doing that much. Like, it's weird that it almost, like, if they're doing 3 whole arcs. I don't know.
I'm curious. I'm more curious to see now since they're doing goofy stuff like the car driving and they're actually doing all of it.
I feel like
the game's pretty and everything.
Similar to most other Dragon Ball games, it'll probably be bad and sell well.
Probably.
And it might, there's like an 85% chance that you buy it.
I want to go that far.
We'll see, Jeff. We'll see.
For games like this, usually if I don't get a day one, I don't get it. And I'm not getting a day one considering the first half of next year.
It's like gambling. It's like, when you have the rush, you gotta buy it right then, and then like if you wait 2 weeks, you realize, oh wait, no, I shouldn't be buying that. I shouldn't be doing this.
Exactly, Darby. Exactly.
We just need to like lock you away every time a big game comes out, so that you can think about it.
No big anime games.
Just
Darby.
lock your
Only
bank account.
Yeah. Okay, final story, or not really a story, but just maybe a little discussion. Who knows? Just want to see where this goes. I got brought up in some podcast, like, yeah, that could be a discussion. So for people who are on the Twitterverse, you probably heard that Spider-Man is out of the MCU. And it's pretty much been confirmed by everyone. I mean, Tom Holland and Kevin Feige sound like
whenever I saw that Kevin Feige and Tom Holland interview, like, I legitimately, like, just watching it, it's like my heart just sank. Because, like, this whole time I'm like, maybe this is gonna, like, start to come around. And then when you see, like, actually himself saying, like, yeah, we had a really good time with Spider-Man. We told the story that we wanted to tell. Bullshit.
Yes, man.
Bullshit.
Not with that the teaser. Mid-credits.
No.
Good Lord.
I mean, like,
you had more plans.
Before we move on to, like, the actual stuff that's relevant to this gaming podcast, it's seriously just... Spider-Man is my favorite superhero, and legitimately, I think me and you both agree, this is the best time for Spider-Man of all time, like, period. This has been the best. And the more I think about, like, I was just, like, sitting around at the house the other day just thinking about Far From Home, and the more I think about that movie, the more I adore it. It was just... God, just this version of Spider-Man was just so damn good.
Oh, Dari, we're still going to get it.
Always
it's going
to be tainted.
100% controlled by Sony, and they have to somehow make a new story but not reference anything that's MCU related.
Like, it's legitimately gonna hurt because, like, I care too much about this Spider-Man. Like, I would rather them just blow the whole thing up and start again, but I don't want that either. I want this. But, like, this is the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
That they got started with this. They set up new things. Remember how damn excited me and you were at that post-credit sequence? And then now that's forever going to be what could have been. It's like, God, just Spider-Man is just cursed as a franchise.
They can't even mention Tony Stark in the next Spider-Man movie.
I just don't even understand how this is going to work. Is they're going to try to keep it the same character? How is the continuity? Like, what? I don't know.
Yeah. And the problem is with that is, it's either they do that or... All
right, what are we talking about here, though, Jeff?
Okay, so we have examples in the past to show that Disney can be stupid when it comes to
and we should point out here that Disney owns the rights for everything but film, right?
Because the movie side of Marvel, as far as the ownership rights, are stupid as hell. It got a little less stupid when Disney bought Fox. I'm of that mindset. I wish they could have just bought the Marvel stuff and just left it at that. But yeah, that's a whole nother thing. So like PlayStation or Spider-Man PS4, which is going to be a main focus of this conversation, owned by Disney. Sony made the game, and I know there's some connection there. You think there's some connection there? No, but it's got to go through Marvel Studios.
Can you stop and think about how funny that is?
Yeah.
That Sony owns the film rights, and they made the game, but they don't own the game. It's like they're each holding each other hostage. But
yeah.
So I did see a lot of people when people brought up concerns about how could this affect the new Spider-Man PS4, I saw a lot of people online no, you idiot, that's the game. How could this this is completely different? And I'm like, no, it's not completely different, because the same people that we're talking about that just cut ties with Sony with the film rights or whatever are the same people who allowed this game to happen. They were part of the deal to make this game happen. And then it's
the whole thing of, why would Disney get in the way of that? Well, I think it's the main thing. Video games make a lot of money. Movies also make a lot of money. Merchandise related to those make a lot of money. Now, Disney's not involved with that. And the main reason why I thought this discussion could come up in hey, maybe this could be something, is look at Marvel vs. Capcom. It used to have a whole bunch of X-Men in it. Oh, and then when the Marvel Cinematic Universe got big and whatever, and a whole bunch of other things were happening there, suddenly X-Men were removed from that and most other things. There are some characters that Disney did not own, the rights to, that disappeared from the comics for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was no Marvel character that wasn't Disney owned, right?
As far as the movie rights?
Yeah.
There's Spider-Man and Venom.
Okay. Yeah. I think those are the
but
only
that
exceptions.
stuff was connected to MCU stuff.
Yeah, at least that was part of their marketing plan.
Yeah.
But I guess the argument here is that they potentially could almost look at allowing Spider-Man 2, the video game, to just be like giving Sony free marketing for their films.
Yeah.
Like if they view the games as that low tier, which I hope they don't, because it sold 13 million copies.
Yeah.
It's not something to laugh at. You know, it's not
Is it maybe a coincidence that we finally saw X-Men in a Marvel game that actually got marketed in Ultimate Alliance to pretty much after the buyout happened? Maybe.
Maybe. Probably not. I mean, it's not uncommon for video games, despite making just as much, if not more money, to kind of be thought of as lesser because just a lot of people in charge of these things don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. And the Conjuring stuff is not as easy to get out of this, so Spider-Man 2 is already being made at the moment, so they might be able to change.
It's more of the future after
the future of it, and potentially what the Marvel may allow them to use. I'm just gonna treat Disney as a vindictive bitch here. This is how we're gonna do it, Darby.
Okay.
So stuff like the Avengers Tower being in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Maybe that stuff won't happen as much because they don't want to be seen to be connected as much. Because of the marketing standpoint. Maybe stuff like Taskmaster was in Spider-Man 1, and now he's gonna be in the Avengers game and Black Widow.
Yeah. Yeah.
They may not want to see that stuff as much connected.
Yeah, and who knows what Insomniac was planning. They put the Avengers stuff in there and had references to it, so they might have done that because they had plans in either Spider-Man 2 or the future ones to incorporate that stuff. That might have been more than just the Easter egg. We don't know, but this could easily influence those, even if the games keep being made, like you said. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility at all. I think Disney will probably let this series keep going as long as Insomniac
just
wants,
kind of going with the whole who's kind of being important in the MCU might influence who's in game stuff. Darby, it was a kind of a big deal when Ms. Marvel, aka Kamala Khan, was announced for Ultimate Alliance 3. Then we see her in
Avengers,
and now they announced a show for Disney Plus with her and saying she's going to be in the MCU movies.
It's not a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence that they're now pushing her hard. I'm okay with it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, but all awesome. These things are connected. They all kind of go back to those films. That's the bread and butter, and that's
odds
where all
are
this
now if they we get another Marvel Ultimate or Marvel vs. Capcom thing or something similar. I expect She-Hulk to come back. in that series because they announced their show too.
Yeah.
Oh, they had crazy announcements. I love it. Moon Knight.
Yeah. Would you look? Yeah, looks really cool with the things I've seen. I don't know. Because it does, like, you worry that Disney will just look at this as like, why are we promoting Spider-Man when Sony's the one making these movies for him?
So this could easily lead to nothing, but I feel
definitely could.
And I wasn't gonna bring this up until I was reminded from someone. It might have been like on Kind of Funny or Easy Allies or something, but reminded me of the whole X-Men and Marvel vs. Capcom and that kind of situation. Like, no, there's precedents for this now. So
people aren't stupid for bringing up these concerns. Yeah. Like, it's a very real thing.
Yeah,
it's like it's probably easy to think like. So, like, Sony owns the Spider-Man rights or whatever, and Sony's making this game. Like, obviously, so like I could understand if you didn't follow this, why you would think
or maybe it's something like Sony also owns the video game rights, which is fair, I guess, because the thing is,
it's complicated.
There've been more Spider-Man games, but the ones people actually really know are more tied to Sony.
Yeah, 100%.
So, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I overall think that these games are still going to be made. And I don't even know if Insomniac wants to keep making Spider-Man game after Spider-Man game. They might want to just do the two and balance.
There's at least going to be the two.
Yes, yeah. But they, who knows?
Yeah. But they're 100% making the new one now, especially now they're owned by Sony. It's like they're going to let.
I mean, Insomniac was also given like a blank check. Like they were given like, you can take whatever hero you want, pretty much, and they chose Spider-Man. But
yeah.
We might be going back into a dark age of Spider-Man again. Or even like the problem is just even if these Sony movies and even if like future properties are good, it's just messing up. Like we were halfway through, regardless of what Kevin Feige says. They obviously did not tell the story they wanted to tell.
But Darby, we can look at the bright side, or at least something good. We're getting into the Spider-Verse too.
Yeah, that's the only like saving grace in all of this. And like no one will watch it again, and it'll be sad.
Watch Into the Spider-Verse, people. It's on Netflix. The best Spider-Man movie, damn it.
Jenny and Wolfie watched it and they loved it.
Good.
I was impressed. I was like, when they said they watched it, I was like, wait, you watched that? Like, and I didn't even have to like beg you to?
And they're like, oh, yeah, we loved it. Like, yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay.
It's a damn good movie.
More people need to do that. Okay. All right, Jeffrey. Well, let's move into our main topic.
Main topic.
Hello. Hi. Sorry. Very serious podcast here. Jeff, next gen. It's right around that dang corner, Jeff.
Yeah.
It's probably a little less than a year away. Like next November.
What gen is the Switch part of? Is Switch part of next gen?
Switch is its own gen.
It's part of their own gen at this point. They're
probably from here on out, they're going to be their own gen unless they just mess up again and then have to, I don't know.
And then get back on track. Yeah. And then in one gen, they'll have two consoles or something. It'll be very, very confusing.
Yeah. Dang Wii U messing up our nice and orderly generations.
Damn you, Wii U.
Wii U just messes up everyone's day. But anyway, so since we're kind of getting to the end of this, companies are kind of winding down. We obviously still have some big games coming out, but for the most part, I'm pretty sure most big companies have had their games come out for this gen. At least the bulk of them. So I kind of want to just like. This might be an ongoing series of main topics we do, especially on lighter news weeks, where we kind of just go through a company's games that they released in the PS4, Xbox One generation, and just kind of talk about how they do, how did everything shake out, and then maybe talk about the future from them. And we have a few here, and judging by time, I think we'll probably only do 2, maybe 3 of these. But Jeff, I want to start with Capcom.
Capcom?
Some would say probably one of the best times for Capcom in a long while. There were obviously some other smaller ones on here, but I just have like at least
Darby,
the ones
you forgot the hit game Dead Rising 3 and 4 on this list.
It wasn't on the thing that I scrolled through.
We started the generation with Dead Rising 3, exclusive to the Xbox One.
I'm sorry, Jeff. I would like to apologize to all the viewers of the podcast. I failed you all. Did you play that game at all? Like you
I did.
You have an Xbox.
My roommate.
Yeah.
No, I didn't play it on mine. I played it not long after it came out because my roommate had an Xbox and he had it. It's fun.
Yeah, it was like super goofy, right? And you like killed a bunch of zombies. I think TJ had it. I think I remember playing. It's like a little bit. Yeah, but it also had like the weird voice command stuff, right? Because it was like I think it was launched Xbox One. I think you had to like yell into your controller like die or something. Like you had to do some dumb stuff because it was like Connect, and it was weird. So that was a weird start.
Connect's the future, man.
Yeah, and then
Still is.
And then where is that series now?
Dead
Rising.
I mean, serious.
Yeah, it is dead.
They're shelving it for now.
Well, I think the studio got shut down too.
Exactly, it's dead.
It's dead. Okay, so
it's dead, Jim.
Maybe not the best start, but I remember that game being kind of fun. Then we have Street Fighter V came out February 16th. I
feel like you're skipping a few years, Darby, but I guess we'll go from there.
We'll just go from there. I probably did like miss some.
So you started like 2013, Darby.
I know.
We're going all the way to 2016.
I swear the list I didn't see like many other things, but let's just start there.
Okay, we'll start there.
Street
Fighter V, very slow start.
Very slow start.
It may not completely recover. It might have. I don't know. I think it sold okay in the end. They're still releasing DLC for it, so it can't be doing that bad.
No, I think Street Fighter V, like this was kind of still during the time of like Capcom is not in a good place. This was like not quite the Capcom turnaround yet.
Yeah,
and,
they kind of pissed people off when this was announced as a PlayStation exclusive at first.
That too. But then now it's on everything.
Everything.
Or I don't know if it's on Xbox, but I know it's on PlayStation and PC. I think it's on Xbox now too. I think it's on everything. Yeah, there were a bunch of Monster Hunter games. I remember skipping those, but
how dare you, sir?
3DS Monster Hunter games.
Well, yeah, there are a lot of ports in this time period.
Okay, I mean,
Ghostbusters.
I think that's why I skipped it, is because they were all ports. They were all like RE2 Revelations.
It might have been. I can't think of something in a time period. But
I definitely looked at this. They were all Monster Hunter games.
I partly find it hard to believe that between Dead Rising and the Street Fighter, there was no like big game, but it might have been. Capcom were falling on hard times.
I really don't see anything.
Okay.
There's like ports of Street Fighter, ports of Devil May Cry,
Talisman though, man. Strider.
I've never heard of either of these games.
You don't know Strider, man? The character that's frequent in Marvel vs. Capcom.
Now I got the Dead Rising 3. Still more ports.
Okay,
still more Monster Hunter games.
You have Umbrella Corps, Darby. Umbrella Corps.
So Capcom still hadn't made their comeback yet with Umbrella Corps.
But they did around that time because they announced Resident Evil 7, which came out January 24th, 2017, which started the comeback.
The comeback. Yeah, I mean, remember that announcement? I mean, that was hype. It was like when you...
But people play the kitchen demo and like, what is this? And then,
And yeah, it was really funny, like, once you realized that was the case, because you go back and look and everyone was so confused by the kitchen demo. They're like, this is really weird. Like, what the hell is this? Like, I haven't seen anything about this game since then. There's just this random demo. And then, like, yeah, the first person perspective, you're like kind of PT vibes. It's like, what the hell is this? And then Resident Evil 7. And then I kind of loved it was the RE7 Biohazard. So it's like connecting the two. It's it was really
cool. Starting the trend, the Capcom trend of announcing something at E3 to come out early the following year.
Yeah,
I like that trend. They should continue.
I do like that trend a lot. But no, this was like you kind of felt that like okay.
Oh wait, they're not continuing that trend. Oh no, it didn't happen at E3.
No, Capcom's dead.
It's dead. They botched it.
But you got the feeling just from like seeing that it's like, okay, Capcom has my attention. It's like it was the first time like Resident Evil had just been such a tortured franchise for so long, and people had been so unhappy.
Resident Evil
with
6
it.
does exist.
Yes, it does. And this just felt like such a turning point. Even when it came out, even though it wasn't perfect, it just seemed like RE7 was just so fresh in comparison to, really other Capcom games around the time. And I don't know, it was cool. And the VR aspect of it and everything. Yeah, it was. I still think that's probably like one of the best, like just full game VR games there has been.
Man, it's creepy in there, man.
Yeah, it's
Being
it's a
chased
good one
by
for it.
that old man.
And the freaky girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was pretty unnerving. Then we had maybe a blip, a bit like a speed bump. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Maybe a little one.
September 19th.
So Capcom isn't
2017.
completely to blame for this. Marvel had
No.
their kind of hand in the whole thing. Though, people rightly point out it's not Marvel's fault for that art style.
New, they kind of botched the art style, kind of botched some of the messaging around this game, and then Marvel Disney did not help with
No. And even Capcom's side of the roster wasn't great.
It's underwhelming for sure.
Yeah. Both sides were underwhelming. Though, considering they were supposed to be parody, might be just with like maybe Marvel setting some limitations as far as maybe roster and everything. Capcom had to kind of do the same.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would have just went for it, but I do think this is one of those games that's going to be thought of as worse than it actually is. Like, I think there are a lot of fans of this. Like, there are fans of this game.
There are
really
people
like
that
it.
stand by the fighting system,
gameplay.
which
And you even played some of it, didn't you? And
no, it feels good. I want to mess around with it some more, but yeah, from as far as getting mainstream like potential, like a lot of these other fighting games kind of have, the roster and the art style just kind of killed it.
Which sucks because like this game should have been huge. Just considering how much more popular Marvel is now than back when MVC3 came out. Like this game should have just been slam dunk, knock it out of the park. It's done.
There been a time people were saying that Capcom was the one kind of pulling it along potentially, where they're kind of more equal. Now, obviously, with this, if they nailed it, Marvel would have been a lot big of a headliner in comparison. Capcom should thanking Marvel they let this happen at this point, but yeah. Then it just came out there, and you're like, oh, I want them to try it again, and maybe, hopefully, Capcom can't, or Marvel will be a lot more hands off and just let Capcom do their thing. Of course, let them say like, hey, we want some of these characters in, that's fine, but let them pick kind of more they want and.
Yeah.
I
mean, in a weird way, Ultimate Alliance kind of makes you think we might be in a better time.
Though it is pretty MCU heavy, but it has a lot more encompassing roster to where it has a whole bunch of. It has a lot more characters, so having those MCU things are okay. And then they do have the deep cuts, and there's so many characters, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more deep cuts when you compare it to Infinite. It's just that roster impressed no one. It was just, I don't know.
I'm trying to think what character. I think Jeddah from Darkstalkers was one of the ones they added him. Cool.
Yeah,
and that's about the.
yeah.
Jeddah's cool, so it's okay with that pick. But yeah, there are weird choices in there for sure. Like as much as I love Mega Man and Zero, with that smaller roster, that didn't need to happen.
I agree.
Okay, so moving on to what was, Capcom's best-selling game of all time, Monster Hunter World. Came out January 26th, 2018. So this game sold a buttload. I feel like I was a lot more optimistic about its potential sale potential than a lot of people.
We have that. This is in the firmly, I mean, the last few have been, but it's firmly in the Nerds at Large was a thing at this point. You can go back and listen to me, and I definitely remember watching that E3 presentation. I was like, just that. Yeah. It's like, this does not look that fun to me.
Again, this could be big. They're setting it up in market right and being on console.
I still thought it was going to be like, okay, they're trying to make Monster Hunter come to the West, and it's like, this one might do better than the other ones because of that, but I'm like, it's still going to be a Japan-heavy thing. It's going to be a more niche thing.
I mean, not to say it didn't blow past my expectations and everyone's expectations, but
yeah. I doubt if I had came to you and said, in that moment, said, Jeff, this is going to be Capcom's best-selling game of all time, and so, how many million of copies? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's 15 million copies or something. I don't think you would have thought that.
Oh, no. But it's crazy how big this game became. It's getting a giant expansion. 2 weeks, something like that.
Oh, is it that close?
Maybe next week.
Nice.
I think it's next week actually. And I don't know if you saw, Aloy's coming back.
Nice.
They're doing a Frozen Wilds.
Is it a limited time thing?
I think so. Yeah. Obviously going to be in PlayStation only.
Yeah.
So this game's big. The expansion is going to sell a buttload.
Oh, yeah.
They're going all out. It's pretty much another.
It's another game.
It's another game.
It's like 40 hours of content or something.
It's another
absurd
game.
like that. And I mean, I legitimately this instantly made Monster Hunter like a huge name that's probably going to be big for like. That's going to be part of the next generation. Is going to be when's the next Monster Hunter game coming out?
I mean, when this game was announced, it was like, during the Sony conference, kind of like, for the most part, yeah, Monster Hunter, cool. I mean, it's kind of like cool, but now, like, yeah, Monster Hunter, and they're like, oh man, Sony's getting the market rights for Monster Hunter. That's huge.
Yeah, no, this is going to be like right side by side when they're like selling PS5 and selling whatever. It's going to be
the new Monster Hunter. Look how good it looks. Look how good Rathalos looks.
Which is crazy that we live in that world because this series was so Japan heavy. I mean, it was huge in Japan, but like that was it. It was just outside of Japan. It was a niche thing that you just heard your super nerdy
and it's mainly was
played.
Played on handhelds just in general for a while.
And then like and Monster Hunter World really does toe the balance of making it more accessible, but it's still a crunchy game. I mean, it is still the systems are way heavier and more complex than most games like this, so it still kind of has that Monster Hunter vibe. So I think a lot of old fans were pleased. I know not all of them, but it was also accessible enough for us to get into.
Mega Man 11, not exactly a big breakout thing, but well received. I think it sold well. So
yeah, and we did have all those legacy collections. I just didn't
all those collections. Yeah,
yeah, which are definitely really good. I mean, it was like I think those collections are part of Mega Man coming back, though. Like now the fact that you can pretty much play every Mega Man game on your PS4 now, like or on modern consoles, pretty much all of it. Yeah. Yeah, and then the fact that Mega Man came back with a new game that was well received, regardless of anything else,
received a lot better than Mighty Number 9.
Oh yeah. No, I think it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and that kind of cements. Like, I do think that is part of Capcom's comeback is that to put out a good Mega Man game, and now, like, I imagine they're probably working on another new Mega Man game at some point. But,
100%. Then. Potentially will win Game of the Year this year by a lot of people. Probably will.
Probably.
Resident Evil 2, the remake, came out in January 25th of this year. Obviously, this is one of those things cements on Capcom's comeback, Resident Evil's comeback.
And again, that E3 hype trailer. Capcom has kind of owned some E3 hype a lot.
Yeah.
In recent times. We'll get to another one. But yeah, like that. The fact that this is something that people wanted so long, it's coming. No, it's not. It's coming. It's in bad shape. It's coming.
5 million at least.
At least, yeah, something like that
already. So
yeah, that sounds right. And just I have not seen anyone not love this game.
Yeah,
like whether you're an old fan or not, it was just the perfect. It seems like the perfect encapsulation of we're gonna take this old game, modernize the style. Like it's really a completely different style than the original one, but everyone says it still feels like they're playing the original. It still feels like the vibe of it, which that's a really hard line to toe with making everyone happy. Like that is hard to do.
And between Resident Evil 7 and this 2 remake being, pretty different in style, it gets his people excited for whatever they do next with the Resident Evil franchise, whether it be it's 8 or a 3 remake. Because both is probably coming. Don't know the exact order of how they'll do that, but people are excited for it either way.
Well, I hope they keep kind of having those two different paths simultaneously with the Resident Evil, because it keeps it fresh. Like, it's not, if it was just all these remakes in this style, that would get old. If it was all like first person survival horror things like 7, that might get old. But the fact that you might have these both alternating back and forth, I think it'll keep Resident Evil a lot more like, like aware in the public eye. And the fact that we got 7 and this in a pretty short time frame from each other is really cool.
I expect 8 to come out pretty shortly after the next console, or I guess the remake, whatever the next one is.
Yeah,
I expect them to plan to release the Resident Evil, at least for the time being, every couple of years.
Yeah. Well, the next one is another E3 hype. It's back thing. A lot of these are franchises coming back, but Devil May Cry 5. Man, I still need to play. But the fact that
Game Pass, baby.
Devil May Cry is another one that was hard to do. This is a style of game that's not really made anymore. And to modernize the sort of like character action game and like maintain what everyone loved about it, but also like add in a bunch of new things and just, I don't know, nail the music, nail everything. There was a lot of things to nail at Devil May Cry, and this could have gone poorly, but it's another
You did it, baby.
Capcom is kind of on a winning streak, a big winning streak when it comes to reviving these old franchises, which I don't know. I'm happy to see.
Yep, we'll have to play this game, Darby.
Yeah. So what do you think about Capcom going forward? I think we're definitely slowing down a little bit because I think they've just been like, game. Yeah, this is out.
I think because it's such a good place and this stuff been doing so well, they don't need to, release as many big things. They're releasing a lot of ports, which obviously not big game releases, but, something for them to make easy money while people are so high on their franchises and releasing, like, all these Resident Evil games on Devil May Cry 1 on stuff on Switch, I'm sure is doing pretty, okay.
Yeah.
Considering their old ports. So I'm excited. Yeah, from the sounds of it, their only big thing for the next little while is the Monster Hunter expansion, which that's going to make a buttload of money. So I think they're just focusing on next gen mainly, getting games out for around that time.
Yeah, which I think is perfectly fine. Capcom could take a few years off from having big things.
Yeah, and considering both Sony and Microsoft got one of their, Sony got Resident Evil last year, and Xbox got Devil May Cry as far as the marketing rights and announcements and all that. I'm sure they're both talking to Capcom, being like, "Hey, new game for next gen. Can we use one of your games as a showpiece?"
Yeah.
Or looking at it, potentially have it if it's something on the level like Devil May Cry, Resident
Nintendo
Evil.
will get Mega Man.
Yeah. I'm sure at some point they're going to announce a Monster Hunter for Switch.
Yeah.
I mean,
didn't they already? Or
yeah, it was kind of like a reported thing from a 3DS version. I think what they're going to probably do is because it makes so much money and everything, and they'll probably have World as the kind of like console one and just other stuff as like a Switch one.
Yeah, which I'm perfectly fine with. Have a smaller team work on the Switch one, and then have the big meaty Monster Hunter games, which I don't expect the next console one for several years, but
no, I don't think they need to.
More than fine, yeah. So I agree. I think Capcom's in a very healthy place now that they can kind of just rest on their laurels for a little bit and just kind of cook up these next.
You forgot the most important game that released recently, Tekken.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did it actually release?
I think it's out.
Do people care?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Some of the art looks cool. Some looks too edgy.
What is Tekken, Jeff?
Tekken is a mobile game where it's a crossover like Card Battle or something or another with a bunch of Capcom characters or something.
Everyone got all excited because it's a crossover Capcom fighter. Oh wait,
it's a mobile game.
It's a mobile card game.
Yeah, and you're like, oh,
I played my Ryu cards.
This is a lot less hype.
It's deflating for sure.
It is.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Capcom. I'm so happy to see Capcom back where they are. Well, Jeff, the next one is it's really long. Do you think we should do this? Or do you think we should save it for next week and just have a shorter podcast this week?
I don't know. So you're saying we stop it here, or do we go? Skip and go to Ubisoft?
I think Ubisoft would probably be just as big, wouldn't it?
I don't know. That's exactly what you meant, Tony.
I was talking about doing that. We can either quickly go through this one, or we can just call it.
We can go quickly for it.
Get
another big developer out of the way.
All right. Well, this is where we're gonna end the podcast on probably a lot like sadder one. Bethesda, which I think Bethesda has inarguably had kind of a rough gen.
Yeah.
But it's weird when you look at this list of games that we're about to go through. A lot of these games, there's a lot of good games on this list.
Yeah.
But there's kind of the difference between, it's weird doing these two companies side by side because Capcom was releasing good games, but the difference is every single one of those,
really well.
every single one of those was selling at least what it should. Like it was
and breaking records for the franchise.
Right. And that's just kind of the bummer for Bethesda is they've made some good games and they have some really good studios, but God, it's like none of them sold. Like Fallout 4, like we'll go through them. That's like the only one I can think of on the top of my head that like really met expectations. I mean, but yeah, let's go through it. Like all the way back 2014. I do think this one, like Elder Scrolls Online, especially as it's gone on, I think it has a pretty big player base. You know.
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
no,
that is like one of the biggest successes of Bethesda the last few years.
It's kind of like Final Fantasy 14, where it started out kind of rough and everything, but then they got their shit together pretty much, and now people love it.
It's kind of like the MMO story in general.
Yeah, for a lot of them, yeah, and because it's it's connected to such a big franchise already, like Final Fantasy 14, and has such a big developer and money behind it, they were able to take the hit of the whole botched launch and able to make it better, and now they got people's trust.
Nope, and still doing like big expansions this year with elsewhere, just like Final Fantasy 14. They are kind of similar track records and came out at similar times too. Then we had Wolfenstein: The New Order, May 20th, 2014. Obviously, I didn't know much about Wolfenstein, like this series of Wolfenstein games back there. I know a lot of people like this.
Killing Nazis.
Killing Nazis. So we gonna kill
the Nazis.
Another game that I didn't really know that much about at the time, but I also was interested in, The Evil Within, October 14th, 2014.
Yeah.
For some reason, it feels like that game was like longer ago than that, but
it feels right, but it just feels like 2014 so long ago.
Yeah,
like it's one of those things. Evil Within, it feels like it was this gen for sure, 100%. But it feels like this gen was lasted longer than it actually has.
Yeah,
in a weird way.
Yeah,
but yeah, kind of with Wolfenstein and Evil Within, games that didn't sell as much as I'm sure Bethesda wanted or anything, but I guess sold okay enough to get sequels, or at least received well enough to okay, let's give this another shot.
That's what I feel like the theme of Bethesda is. I feel like so many of these games are received well enough that Bethesda wants to keep investing into it, hoping to get that hit if they just keep making good games. But the sad part is that we're going to get to is both of these series made those sequels. Those sequels were good and still didn't sell.
Yeah,
that's just the bummer part.
Yeah, and as much as we shit on it, and kind of deservedly so, like their E3 conferences the last couple of years, but it probably is the reason they focus so much on the crap we don't care about, because it's probably the ones making the most money.
Yeah, I mean, Elder Scrolls, even the Elder Scrolls Blades, all these other things. It certainly is. So we'll get to those sequels. So we'll talk more about. We'll talk about whether probably the first, other than Elder Scrolls Online, their first big hit and probably their biggest hit of their entire company's lifetime, Fallout Shelter.
I think that's made some money.
It's like I was just kind of blown away at the time just how many people and how many downloads there were of Fallout Shelter. There's people that never played Fallout in their life and still have never played Fallout in their life playing Fallout Shelter. And it was weird.
I just can't get the mindset playing this mobile game, man.
I can't either. It just does not compute with my brain.
Yeah.
But I think that game was just right time. It was right place, right time, and the Fallout hype was so big. I was, definitely I was part of that.
Then probably I guess they're bigger. Well, maybe not necessarily, but as far as sales numbers for normal games hit this generation, Fallout 4 didn't exactly get the reception as you would hope for a Fallout game, but it still sold a lot just because of initial sales.
Yep. Which, another weird trend here. Probably the worst received game of this entire list and the best selling of the ones that we've said so far.
So far.
Yeah.
If I was talking about Darby,
no,
you know this one. That's
but I'm talking about of the games that we listed so far. It's the worst.
So far,
it's the worst received, but the best selling by a mile.
Yes.
But
sorry, I took it as in general on this list. I'm like, no,
Jeff, we both know a game. We both know what's coming.
Yes.
But no, Fallout 4 was such a
it was an event. It's when it was
huge. It was one of the biggest events that I remember in the last few years.
It's like games. Bethesda pretty much seemed announced that their press conference, E3 press conference that year, just for that game. It's and we were all like, this makes sense.
Yeah, it was cool. That first Bethesda press conference felt like, I'm glad I watched this. I'm really excited,
And then they did more of them, which why?
It's
why you do this to us?
Didn't need to just keep doing that when you didn't have stuff to say. But Fallout 4 was such a just weird thing because when I first started playing that game, I was just so excited for it, and I was loving it. It was like more Fallout, and I hadn't played Fallout in a while. It was like really, really cool. But just spending so much time with that game, the more you play it, the more it just kind of like wore down on me, and so many other people felt the same way I did. And then when I look back in hindsight, I mean, I hate to do it, but The Witcher just completely outclassed them. I mean, Bethesda was what all of us thought of Bethesda. When you thought of like open world Western RPGs, you thought Bethesda. Between Fallout and Elder Scrolls, they were the kings of that. The pioneers of their craft. That is what you thought of. Now, like, I am several years in a row, they are not what I think of at first. Like, I think of them as like, you know,
the old guard,
like early 2010s.
Yeah.
RPGs or whatever, in like in late aughts. But like, no, they have lost that title definitively now. And I think 2015 was like one of the first big steps in that, because The Witcher is just leaps and bounds ahead of it. And the further we get from both of those games, the better The Witcher looks, the better CD Projekt Red looks, and the worse Bethesda has. And it bums me out because I love Fallout and I love Bethesda, but Fallout 4 was safe. It was super, 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 super safe. And it's just, I don't know, the video game industry's too good for that safe of a game at this point.
Well, a game that I kind of keep on forgetting about is Bethesda when we talk about them as far as games succeeding and all that. This is a game that was received well and did succeed. Doom.
They nailed it. They got one.
They nailed Doom.
Yeah, I think this is one of the few exceptions on this whole list that is just like there's no problems. They brought something back, and they brought it back in the best way.
Yep, it sold well.
And its sequel is looking to do just as well, like if not better.
I feel like it's gonna be one of those things where no matter how even if it reviews score-wise lower, I think a lot of people will probably agree this is a better one than Doom, the first Doom, which is crazy because of how highly regarded this Doom is. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, that was definitely one of the biggest like hits for Bethesda.
Yeah.
But then
when we keep on talking about potential game of the year things, I keep on forgetting about Doom Eternal. I'm like, no, that's a good shot to being up there.
There's definitely at least going to be like some places that's it's gonna be a nominee probably.
Yeah.
Like all that.
I feel like the thing I will hold it back is because it's kind of a more old school arcadey first person shooter, and it's one of those kind of maybe niche/genres or whatever that has a stigma that way and can't be like.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of game of the year stuff is usually pretty dominated by story stuff, but Overwatch won.
That's true.
Yeah, PUBG was nominated.
Yeah,
done that.
Zelda won. So
yeah. I guess that's not story
Zelda
heavy. It's kind of it's still like an RPG. It's like
not story.
It's similar to the story games, but it's not story heavy. Yeah. Then we kind of go back to the more depressing trend of Bethesda, of a game that everyone loves, everyone seems to adore, and it seems to be a really well made game, but did not sell, and that is Dishonored 2.
That's true.
November 11th, right before my birthday, 2016. And this is another one. It's just like both Dishonored games, I think, have underperformed, and Dishonored 2 especially. Like, I think that game just bombed. Like, there was TV commercials and everything for Dishonored 2. Like, there was there was a lot of money put into that game.
Yeah, I think Dishonored 1 may have sold pretty well, been out to the expectations.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it made sense to make a sequel, but the Dishonored 2 did not do well, but received very well, and I think most people who played both agreed that Dishonored 2 was a step up in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like Dishonored 1, so I had no interest. But I just understand it's not my game.
Just wait, Dishonored 2's on Game Pass, man.
Well, yeah, we'll see. That'd probably be the only chance. But it's a bummer. Then we have Elder Scrolls Legends, which is March 10th, 2017, which is the card game. Okay. I literally have no clue anything about the reception, commercials, etc.
It's an old game. It's probably doing well. They kept on promoting it.
It's probably like one of the things keeping Bethesda afloat.
Yeah. Then Prey.
Another. It's just going through Bethesda's history is sad. Because Prey's another one that seems like it's a really good game. Did a lot of really innovative, cool stuff. And no one bought it.
No one did.
No one bought it. It keeps going. There's a Dishonored Death of the Outsiders, the DLC for Dishonored. Kind of the same thing. And then, again, The Evil Within 2, October 13th, 2017. Seems like a really good game. I really want to play it. No one bought that game.
No one bought it. Huber wanted us to.
It's like, how long can Bethesda keep doing it? It just bums me out.
Yeah.
Because there's like, even when Bethesda does good things, they're not rewarded for it.
Yeah. People seem excited for Ghostwire, even if it's because of that girl.
I feel like people were excited for Evil Within too. Who knows? We'll see when it actually comes out and what it sells. Because people are also excited for Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus.
People love that game.
October 27, 2017.
I remember now being weird that they were 2 weeks apart.
Yeah, that is super strange.
And doing a really busy game time.
And that's probably
that probably did not
sell.
help.
Yeah. They were not positioned in the best spot. Another game people adore, did not sell very well. We have Doom VFR. I don't remember. This is the Doom VR thing. It might have been pretty low effort.
Virtual fucking reality, bitches.
And we had Skyrim Very Special Edition. Do you remember what this is, Jeff?
Is that the Alexa thing?
It is the Alexa thing.
The biggest success in the history of the world, if we're being honest.
It's probably the Bethesda. I mean, it made me laugh a lot, so
yeah.
So that was good for Bethesda.
Elder Scrolls Blades, Darby, more mobile games.
Probably doing really well, and I just don't know. And then we have the rock bottom, Fallout 76, November 13th, 2018. And this is the one that just...
The gift that kept on giving.
This is the one that just completely, like, cements the fact that this was, like, this gen was horrible for Bethesda. And Bethesda's just like I said, you think of Bethesda when you think of RPGs, you don't anymore. Like, they're not the ones anymore in Fallout 76.
I don't know.
And the blender is just kind of what cements that.
I mean, what open world games? They released, I guess, 3 new ones if you count Elder Scrolls Online, and one of them was at a very reception. And you have Fallout 76, which, yeah.
Because like the game design wise bad, just what they were promising to what happened bad. Then there was the whole losing people's credit card information,
the whole bag thing.
The whole bag thing.
Apparently, it's gotten better. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this whole thing. Where, games get released, they're broken. I mean, they did Elder Scrolls Online, I guess, because we're farther away, and where I'm not as harsh on that. But still, where it comes out bad and then it gets better, and we're should be applaud them. It should have been broken to begin with. We should. I hate where this is a whole main topic of something, but I don't like this mentality of with these service games that it can come out broken, okay, as long as they fix it later.
Well, that's just how it works.
Though I feel like in some ways it's failing people a lot more. It's not as a reliable thing now because you look at this and Anthem.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So
yeah, I was about to bring out Anthem too, because like from everything we've heard internally, that was a legitimate thing that they were actually saying internally. It wasn't just an unspoken thing. They were saying like, it's okay that we have these problems. People will understand it, like it'll get better later or whatever. It'll be fine. And clearly that was not the case.
Now you get for like $10.
Yeah. God, is it really $10?
I saw like
I think there's been sales, which is I mean, I think it's because people are only gonna get burned on that so many times before they're like, nope. They see that it's a broken mess and they're like, no, I have spent $60 on these things before too many times. I'm out. I have No Man's Sky sitting in my closet. I have this whatever the hell else sitting in my closet. I'm tired of this shit. I mean, like,
I'll just wait till these games are good and add VR like No Man's Sky.
But even I'm sure there's like the majority of the people who were excited about No Man's Sky never got back to it.
No, probably not.
Like me
and
too.
That's fair.
I was one of those too. I mean, you kind of wasted your window, when you're bad and then you're good 2 years later.
Did you get No Man's Sky?
No.
Oh, okay. You made it sound like you did it there for a second.
No, I'm saying that I didn't.
Yeah, okay.
I'm saying I'm one of those people that was excited for it. I saw that it got better, and I still haven't bought it.
You just kind of said like, yeah, people who got it where I got better and then go back to, and you said like me or something.
No, okay. I just worded it wrong. I'm trying to say that I'm one of the people that did not go back to it.
Did you get freaking No Man's Sky? I never knew this, Darby.
No.
Let's plug in that VR.
Plug me in. Put a chip in me.
Plug me in, coach.
All right, let's quickly get through the rest of these.
Rage 2. I'm nowhere near how particularly sold. Probably not particularly well. Received pretty okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Received more okay than the rest of them, but it's one of those that I kind of stopped hearing anything about. I don't think it had like staying power. We're not seeing it on that like top 10 of the year lists or anything like that. You know.
Elder Scrolls Online Elsewhere.
As a Khajiit player main, I definitely want to play this at some point, but don't have too much other to say about it. Then we have Wolfenstein Cyber Pilot and Wolfenstein, which is the VR thing, and Wolfenstein Youngblood.
So I don't think Youngblood probably sold well because I feel like we saw some marketing for it. Some people kind of talking about it, then it completely went off into the nether.
And the reception was really bad.
I can't remember that part.
It was bad.
Okay.
Like there was a few people that were it's okay, but then everyone else was like, I was really excited for co-op Wolfenstein. Now that I saw it, don't think it's a thing that should happen. Like everyone was like, yeah, it's kind of bland.
It died so fast I didn't even see the conversation.
That's funny. You blink and you miss it. It was just like 1 week of people saying, like, it was like 10 minutes of their podcast where they're like, yep, it wasn't good.
I was all sucked up into Fire Emblem.
I mean,
that's all I care about.
Probably a better place to be honest. And then in the future, in a few months, we have Doom Eternal, which will be another saving grace for Bethesda, but not enough to really save this generation. Now, what do you think about Bethesda going forward into the next generation? They obviously have a mountain to climb.
The generation is saved because they announced Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield that's coming out years in the future.
They showed us some JPEGs.
Yeah, I still find that whole thing BS, and we should not applaud them for that, for doing that. To end their conference with 2 games that are farther out than most people do for this.
I mean, I think it's kind of indicative. Like, you see why they did that, right?
Yeah.
Like, look at all of this. Like, look at the amount of failures they've had. And the bad thing is, like, Bethesda is going to be incentivized to drop Wolfenstein, Evil Within, Dishonored, Prey, drop all these like a bad habit, and then immediately go back to let's pump more Elder Scrolls stuff out. Let's pump more like Fallout mobile games. Let's pump more like safe things that we know will work.
And here's the thing though, and talking for this, I don't feel like I'm wrong with saying this, but should people be excited for Starfield and Elder Scrolls because they haven't released a good open world game that people knew about in about 10 years?
Yeah, no, like we said, the just assumed quality that like I did have going into Fallout 4 is gone now. Like I'm gonna be skeptical about every.
Because the Bethesda game studios really just Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, which most people were mad at best for Fallout 4, and then Fallout 76 is Fallout 76. That's all we have for a whole generation. Why should people be excited about their next games?
So their last like game that everyone universally loved was Skyrim in 2011.
Exactly, almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So why should people be necessarily excited?
No, like I'll be interested because it's Bethesda and they've made great games that I loved in middle school. But I'm gonna be waiting for reviews, and even then, like I'm gonna be like very closely looking. It's funny, like it's just completely shifted to Cyberpunk is now the one that I'm like, I trust CD Projekt Red. They have my faith.
Yeah, it's completely turned to, like you were saying, Bethesda used to be the one that we, when we think about open world games, you think about them. Now, it quickly changed to CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
Or even Breath of the Wild in a way.
Yeah, I mean,
completely different
it's definitely multiple companies in a way, but I feel like that style of, like, the fact that The Witcher 3 and Fallout 4 came out months apart from each other.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, I mean, the further we get away from that, the more just that shows.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's like a thing for Bethesda as far as that more people have a lot more reason to be excited for, like, Ghostwire just because the concept is very interesting, and while not too many people played it, Evil Within and Evil Within 2, good games. We can trust Mikami.
When, ironically enough, the best Bethesda games in the last generation, like you said, have not been Bethesda game studios. They've been their other other studios that they own.
Yep. No, Bethesda game studios, which is the big one. That's just the best this generation. Yeah, there's no other way to put it.
I would expect Ghostwire and somebody in Deathloop and a lot of these to probably be good.
I was trying to remember the name of Deathloop. Like, those two look very interesting. I want to know more. I couldn't give less of a crap about Starfield and Elder Scrolls at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm definitely interested in them, but like, I don't feel like I would feel better about those two games.
I mean,
those two games are not gonna. If you stop right here, do you think Ghostwire and Deathloop will sell what they should?
Probably not.
There's no reason to feel hopeful about that.
Yeah, part of me feels.
And how long can Bethesda keep doing this?
Yeah.
Can they keep making games and losing money on them again and again and again and again? At some point, either you shift your strategy to something safer, or it's just something's gonna give.
Yeah, something that gives me hope potentially for something like Ghostwire, and this is not a one-to-one thing, I know, but something that gives me hope that some more games like that will be kind of breakout things and stuff. We had like freaking Nier sold 4 million copies. Different thing, I know, very different. But when something like weird Japanese thing can sell that many copies just out of nowhere, it gives me hope for something like Ghostwire being able to do something like that. And we've got some stuff for Western game too, so even stuff like Deathloop. It gives me more hope that talent wins.
Yeah, there's always a chance to randomly strike gold, and sometimes there's not rhyme or reason. Like,
yeah.
Dishonored 2 was great, Evil Within was great, Wolfenstein was great, none of them called on, but yeah, suddenly Deathloop could be like, have you played Deathloop? And it's just like, and so much of it is also coming out at the right time. Like we said, Wolfenstein Evil Within 2 just got drowned out. If they came out in, I don't know, September, like maybe it would have been a different story.
Yeah. So,
video game releases is just a very fickle thing. It's just like...
Yeah. So overall, I think more people have, and obviously not a new thing. This pretty much, I probably directly said this, but can't remember. But I probably pretty much insinuated the way I was talking. People have more reason to be excited for non-main Bethesda game studio stuff than actual Bethesda game studios.
Yeah.
Because again, Doom Eternal is going to come out and blow everyone's faces off, literally.
Yes, literally. Do you think what are the chances that we are saying, just to compare the two, like it's kind of fun doing these back to back, do you think we'll be saying a Capcom like thing about Bethesda like in this generation, that it's like, oh, Bethesda has really turned it around?
Potentially. It's just the main thing of, I feel like we'll still be beating the drum up potentially. Hey, Bethesda's still making good games, but it's their less known studios, but they're still maybe not selling as well as they should.
Well, and especially, I feel like a lot of this does ride on
the Bethesda game studios.
Well, and like, do we all pick up Elder Scrolls 6 and we're like, God damn it, they did it again. They did, like, this is just low effort. This is just the word pumping out another Elder Scrolls game where it's like the same formula or whatever. Yeah, which is so weird. Like, both of those. Like, I mean, Starfield has a better chance just with it being something new. But like, are we gonna play those and it's like, this is just a Bethesda RPG using the same game philosophy that they did in 2008, and it hasn't like progressed with the times again? Because that would be even more.
It has the patented Bethesda jank, and then Todd Howard makes jokes about it. Oh, you know us.
I can't deal with it again. Sayonara.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude. Yeah. I don't know. I really hope so, because I like Bethesda overall. Like they've made some of my favorite games, but it's just time has kind of passed them by, and it seems like they make their games, or at least Bethesda Game Studios makes their game in a vacuum and doesn't look at the outside world, doesn't look at what other RPGs are doing, and that can work when you're Rockstar. You make Red Dead Redemption, you just pump millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars into it, and you're super talented. But it did not work for Bethesda.
No.
I'm definitely concerned.
Oh, yeah. Fallout 76 came out pretty close to Red Dead, huh?
That's how we end the podcast. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Remember, chat sucks.
Chad sucks.
Yeah.
Hashtag Chad sucks.
Hashtag Chad sucks. We love Chad. We love home.
Astral Chain.
See, they're not going to talk about it. I don't know. Maybe they will, but
they are weebs.
They are weebs. They don't know. They don't know what it's like. All right. Goodbye.